Koa Pau. This is Kaiopua Fife with Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's Future, brought to you by the Koani Foundation. And we're very pleased to be here today with Tambry Young, and we'll be walking and talking and figuring out just who Tambry is, what she does, and how she's contributing to our society, and particularly here in Hawaii. So Tambry, mahalo for coming with and being with us.
Aloha. Aloha.
Appreciate it very much. Boy, the wind's coming up. We've got weather coming in, but that's the way it is here. Huh?
That's it.
While we were setting up earlier this morning, we couldn't help but overhear a little spirited conversation you were having with a young lady who was obviously trying to sell something. But
Yes.
did any of the discussions that you were having with her kind of fall into the direction that you find yourself heading?
Well, it absolutely did. She was with a religious group that wanted to explain to me about a few things, and I simply asked her, does her faith support rights, benefits, protections, and responsibilities for all families in Hawaii? Mm-hmm. And that's what we talked about. Mm-hmm. I've been very active in the civil unions movement that's going on currently in Hawaii, mm-hmm. which is a bill called HB 444, which grants all the rights, benefits, protections, responsibilities to same gender as well as heterosexual couples who choose not to want to be married.
Yeah, traditional
type of marriage, but would like to be afforded all those particular benefits that are afforded to to married couples. Mm-hmm. It really is a bill that is about civil rights and all the civil benefits that are afforded to couples.
Right. Right.
I have been with my partner now, Suzanne, for 29 years. Mm-hmm. And we have a 10-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were never very active in the community. We just were kind of living our lives, going about our thing, you know, doing our canoe paddling, just raising our family. Right. And in December of '08, we were asked to attend a meeting. We attended a meeting and realized that this issue was coming up, and you know, it is our issue.
Right. Right.
So we did. We got involved, and we took that on. And it's not a new issue. In '92, there was a court case that was ruled that basically the state had no compelling reason to deny same-sex couples marriage. Right. And unfortunately, what happened in '98 was a constitutional amendment came out, and in that constitutional amendment, it said that the legislature has the power to define marriages between one man and one woman, and that is what happened. However, what it doesn't address is the fact that you still have to provide equal rights for all people. You know, they can define marriages between one man and woman, but you still need to provide some element of equal justice, which is the Civil Unions Bill. Right. Correct.
Yeah, I think, well, this has gone up and down and hit, you know, become a hot topic for years. You know, it seems to generally coincide with election years and so forth.
Yes, yes.
And so it's a big deal. I think a lot of people have a problem with the term marriage.
Yes, yes.
You know, if you're coming from a Christian perspective and you think marriage is a man and a woman, but you know, a partnership, a domestic partnership, or
civil union partnership.
Civil union. It's, to me, I think I don't see any reason for that not to be taking place, and it's not just a gender issue or a life choice issue. I mean, there are a lot of cases where you have family members who are actually living and depending upon each other, you know.
Right, right.
And it's the same situation where they can't share the benefits that they could be entitled to also.
Correct. So. And I think, you know, that's really the misperception that's out there currently, out in the media, out there in the general public, is that it is marriage. You know. It absolutely is different from marriage. The basic thing is we don't have any federal There are no federal benefits
Right.
Attached to it.
Right.
And you know, there is a social acceptance of people being married, and that idea that when you're married, these, you know, you have these certain things just when you tell someone you're married, you know, and that's some of the parts that are involved in a civil union. However, really what this is really about rights, benefits, protections, and responsibilities,
Right.
and actual civil things that are of a law that are set up by the state,
Right.
for people to be to feel a part, to be able to benefit. It's not about marriage. It is really about all those civil rights. You know, so we continue to try to stress that. As far as the faith groups, many churches are saying that they're going to be forced to perform civil unions or marry same-sex couples in a church, and that is absolutely false.
Sure.
Absolutely false.
They should have their right to choose
Correct.
what they want to do as well as anybody
and
else.
many faiths can't marry people of different faiths in their one church,
Right.
so they have that right, and that will continue. In order to perform civil unions, you have to take out, you have to be licensed. So churches that don't want to don't have to.
Sure.
However, there are many faiths here in Hawaii that believe that civil unions is something that they believe in, and that they would perform civil unions for couples. Another thing that the amended version did was it opened it up to heterosexual couples to perform, like you said, may not be so inclined to want to have the religious aspects of a marriage,
Right.
but should be afforded all the benefits and protections as a married couple,
Sure.
and they can take advantage of that. And we constantly struggle with the oppositional forces saying that it's going to break down the family.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter, she's 10, but she sees herself as a family. She knows what her family is about, and these benefits and protections and responsibilities that we would gain by civil union strengthens our family.
Of course.
Allows us to feel, allows us to really not have to fear. If my partner goes into the hospital, will I be able to, you know, go and see her?
Right.
You know, just a vast array of various types of rights that really in our Constitution.
And responsibilities.
Yes.
Also.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If something should happen, that
Choices have to be made sometimes, hard
correct,
choices. Yeah.
correct.
Who's going to do it? Who's most appropriate to do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because churches can do what they want in their church, and that is their church, and that is their prerogative.
Sure.
They can speak on it. They can say how it's not right, it's an abomination, and we're not going to go into their church and sue them for defamation of
they're
character.
entitled to their
They're
opinions, sure.
entitled to their opinion.
Sure.
However, they're not entitled to say go out there and, you know, beat up gay people or
Right.
anything like that.
Right,
But
right.
you know, and that's not what they're saying at all. Like the woman I had the conversation with this morning, they look at it in two different ways.
Well, I think a lot of people look at it from their own point of reference, and
Right,
you know,
right.
if it's instilled in them that this is the way the situation is, I mean, there's not much to talk about from that point, because you know what they used to say: don't argue religion and politics, because logic doesn't enter in. It's what's
Yes.
you know, you already have your mind made up. So
Like I said, the movement probably started strong, getting really strong, a stronger movement around '98 after the constitutional amendment. It's kind of gone up and down. This is the farthest that it has
Yeah.
ever gone.
yeah,
And I think primarily one of the primary factors was when we started, when some of the original people drafting the bill and stuff started meeting with legislators. What the legislators talked about was, where are the local people?
right,
Yeah, where are the local people? How are they involved? And so when we did start to get involved, we started to meet people that had been working on this for very long. And there was, throughout this history of this whole movement, there have been some really great people that it has brought the issue out forward.
right.
These two past sessions, or this particular movement, really did try to bring the local element, you know, which was the local families, like myself, who was born and raised here, my partner, who was born and raised here, and really started to get out there and say, you know what, this is our home. This is our home. This is where we'll live. This is where we'll die. This is where we have our business. This is where we're going to raise our family. And we do need those rights.
Sure.
So it started to take on that aspect. And, you know, I wasn't very politically involved prior to this movement.
Kind of doing your own thing in your little isolated world.
Yes, absolutely, in my my little isolated world.
Yeah.
And when we took this on, and I became the co-chair of Equality Hawaii, which is one of the lead advocacy groups that helped move the bill forward. I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to show the legislature that this isn't a mainland issue.
Yeah.
You know, that I think everybody here can say they either know a co-worker or a family member or people that they go to church with or friends or, you know, and we all deserve, you know, deserve our rights.
When you talk about local, I remember a couple of years ago when there were some really troubled people, violent, hostile people coming in from, you know, someplace in North America. I guess they were here to save us from ourselves. You know, another wave of those.
Yes.
But I'm glad that there's a focus on what's good for Hawaii here. Of course, I would say that the same thing that's good for us is good for everyone.
Yes.
Across the board. But when you have outsiders come in from somewhere else and travel in on a bus to a location to disrupt, you know, there were cultural events that were going on here that they just made total at themselves on it, you know.
Right, right.
And they kept coming back, but I guess eventually they finally gave up. But
I believe that, you know, full equality and full recognition of relationships is something that we'll continue to strive for, whether that's something similar, you know, marriage or something like that. That's for another time. But really, what is provided for in this bill is the beginning. It is the beginning of.
It's a step.
It's a step. It is a step, and I think it's a good step. You know, everything can be improved. I wish we could just go right across the board. You know, like equal rights. What is good for one is good for all.
Sure.
And it's truly not equal if one person is not receiving those.
It's like trying to push a big wagon. You know, just to get it to move at all is a major accomplishment.
The separation of church and state is very evident in this bill. It doesn't require any religious institution to solemnize, sanctify, or accept it if they don't want to, and that's fine. However, there's really a clear distinction between civil rights and religious ideals. And I think that's what we want to make clear to everyone, that churches should not fear that this will invade in their churches in any way. And why would we want to deny something that is strengthening families? You know, or affording people benefits, or affording people rights. You know, why would we want to continue in our society to have, you know, laws that discriminate? You know.
I think it has to do with control, domination. Power. You know.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I mean, that's typically what it's about.
Absolutely.
It's a starting point. I mean, in other words, this is not going to solve federal retirement income or Social Security or any kind of federal benefits for whatever. You know, but it's clearly a good start.
I think it is a good start. You know, we live in an island community. We live in such a small place. That idea of 6 degrees of separation goes out the door, because over here we're probably 1 degree of separation, and then we all somehow know each other. We have to live together. The work that the advocates are going to continue to do is education, you know, and spreading out why this is important for all of us, you know, to be a part of. You know, Hawaii has been such a progressive state, you know, with Patsy Ming's Title IX and, you know, the abortion issues and all of these really progressive issues that Hawaii truly was recognized for. And this particular bill, House Bill 444, is unique in itself because it does recognize that there are heterosexual couples in our same situation. You know, I think people thought of common law, and you just got it after 7 years, but of course Hawaii doesn't have that. But that allows it allows it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have an elderly couple. One of them dies.
Mm-hmm.
The other the other surviving spouse was
Mm-hmm.
on a fixed income.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really, depending on the financial stability of their deceased spouse.
Yeah.
But then falls in love with someone else.
Yeah.
You know, if they do get married, they lose those benefits.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but they want to be committed some way and
Mm-hmm.
receive other benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Civil unions allows that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some, actually some faith organizations that would not support this particular bill if that wasn't a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, and that is a part of it. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, talking about elder people and one of the spouses dying, it's pretty refreshing to me quite frequently here in Hawaii
Mm-hmm.
to see folks who might have been sweethearts
Mm-hmm.
in high school
Yes.
and then been apart for 3 or 4 decades raising families or traveling or doing their professional thing, and then at an advanced age winding up sweethearts again with the same person from from childhood. And it's kind of cool, kind of cute, I think.
It is. It is. So I think this bill definitely has a lot. Has
Mhm.
something for all people. Really, it is all
Mhm.
about that. And no other bill. There are other states that have either same-sex marriage or some form of civil union
Right.
in their states. This one is the most unique in that it does open it up.
Mhm.
It does open it up that way. But what better place than in Hawaii, the little state that we think of all people. So.
Well, look at what happened in California. I mean, talk about up and down.
Mm.
I mean, there were,
Yes.
it was in, it was out. You
Yes.
could go to San Francisco, people could get married. Whoop, no, you can't do
Yeah.
that today.
Right.
So,
Right. And yes, that was very unfortunate. And we've talked to many people in California.
Yeah.
Same thing in Maine.
Right.
Maine passed it,
Yeah.
passed same-sex marriage,
Mhm.
and then a referendum went on their ballot, and they lost their.
right.
So it's yes, there is still strong opposition to it.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, a lot of it is played out in the media, and a lot of it is misinformation.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's because it's said. Some people think it's just true
Right.
instead of diving
Right.
really deep into it.
Mhm.
But the majority, I think, of the opposition has come from the religious sector,
Mhm.
and we continue to battle those battles with them because at this point there really is
Yeah,
there
but
is
then
no foundation.
getting back to the impact that the media has, it's almost a crime in some instances. I mean, more and more frequently you're actually hearing that addressed on a lot of this infotainment type supposed news coverage where they're actually setting the tone,
Fortunately for us, in this movement, in the last push after the January 29th, when that particular vote, that voice vote was taken,
Right.
that really allowed us to kind of step back and to really look at how do we continue, because the process that it went through was what they call a postpone indefinitely.
Mhm.
And what that does is it takes the bill, I call it takes the bill, and it's not on the table anymore, it's kind of
Right.
under the table.
Right.
And what you needed was 34 votes to pull it out.
Mhm.
So we really went to the media to help us and get all the stories and all the op-eds that we could, talking about why it was right.
Mhm.
And so in this case, the media really helped out.
Well, that's great. Well, it should here in Hawaii. I mean, Hawaii has been so welcoming to people from all over, to all walks of lifestyles, acceptance of different cultures, incorporation of different cultures. That I mean, it just makes sense that it should be there. That here, we should be probably ahead of everybody else
And we should.
on it.
And I think that it's important that we really went out there to the broader community, not just stay
Yeah.
within the GLBT community.
Yeah.
But we went out there and we found that there was a lot of broad mainstream support.
Yeah.
And the perception that the opposition had so many people, we just had a large contingent of supporters out there. There were just not those that come out and sign wave or
Right.
come out and do that.
Right.
But when you talk to people, and we went out there and talked to people, straight people, business people, organization people were like, this is just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Why
yeah.
isn't it happening?
Yeah.
And that's why getting active and taking taking a stand, even if it's a personal issue, that starts the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I've come to realize now that it's really beyond just the civil unions issue.
Right.
I'm definitely getting more involved in the, our Hawaiian issues, social justice issues, the political scene, and the politics of it all. So it's really gotten me really active.
You know, going broad is legitimizes a cause. You know, going beyond just the people who are most narrowly impacted is what the community is about. I know over on Kauai we had a lot of people, super ferry thing.
Yes, yes.
You know, I mean, what really drove our objection to it home was the fact that there were people from every aspect of the community, from visitors from California, mainlanders, little kids, all across the board. And that's what nobody could refute. So it wasn't just like some crazy little group that was going nuts, you know.
Right.
It was actually representative of the entire community.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and that's what legitimizes it, and you can't ignore that.
No, no,
You know,
absolutely not.
can't ignore
Absolutely
that.
not. And
Well,
this-
good luck as this continues.
Yes, yes.
We've I haven't been particularly involved in this topic. I've been not traveling around quite a bit, but I try to watch it. But there's so much going on. In order for something like this to happen, there's got to be an awful lot of energy put into it, and so much follow through.
Oh, yes.
You know, generally to get something through the legislature, you better be looking at voting 5, 10 years sometimes.
Yes.
From the time you start, if you're going to be successful, you got to kind of anticipate that. I think the only other ones who do any better at that and shortening its time up are spending big bucks and buying their way through. And
Oh, yeah. And we definitely couldn't do that.
That wasn't the situation here.
But I will, like I said, this is a start, and I encourage people, whatever your passion may be. Sometimes, you know, it's paddlers. I paddle too.
Sure.
People have gotten involved with paddling or surfing or paddleboarding, but it's really taking that issue, taking it to heart. And once you do, you realize you can't stop.
No, you
know?
get consumed with it.
Absolutely. You know.
That's the danger of getting involved in things,
That's okay.
or making a suggestion, because that means that you've got to get into it yourself.
That's it.
Well, that just about winds up our time for this
Yes.
segment. Tambry, we appreciate your spending some time with us.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it very
Letting
much,
me
and
to
good
share
luck
that.
in every way. And we'd like to thank those of you out there who are watching,
Right.
and remind you of some of the things that were said is, if you see something that needs to be changed, be prepared to dedicate yourself to making the good things happen.
It's okay.
This is Kaipua Fife with the Kiwani Foundation, Voice of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's Future, a segment of the Free Hawaii Broadcasting System. Hui ho.
Mahalo for watching Voices of Truth one-on-one with Hawaii's Future. Watch us on the web 24/7 at voicesoftruthtv.com. You'll find all our shows, including this one, in case you want to see it again or share it with family and friends. Also view our weekly video commentaries at freehawaiitv.com. And check out our blog, published daily, at freehawaii.info. It's all part of the Free Hawaii Broadcasting Network.